Alright, so we're back on the 175C today, and if you saw my last video, we changed the hydraulic filter there. That was last night. Today is actually a beautiful day here in southern Indiana. We've been getting down into like 30s and 40s and 20s over the last week, and raining and snowing and miserable. It's like mid-50s and the sun's shining today. A little bit of a breeze makes you want to go out and crappie fish or go shoot a turkey. So heard my first gobble last night when I was finishing up. Actually, it was dark, and I heard one on the limb back here behind the house. So that's pretty cool. Spring is coming, boys and girls. It just, sometimes it's hard to believe. Alright, so what I've been working on so far today is, like I said, I changed the hydraulic, or not the hydraulic, the transmission filter last night. And my plan was to come up here to these lines, disconnect each one on the other end, which is now under the batteries, disconnect each one and blow those lines. Well, I got to thinking about it, and as dirty and nasty as it is down there, I'm going to introduce more dirt by opening up the other end. So what I did was, rather than open those ends up, introduce more dirt and make it worse than it probably is, because that filter looked pretty good, so the lines are probably pretty good. I went ahead and cranked the machine, put a plastic bag over top of the lines here, cranked the machine till it started, let it build pressure, and two of these lines started gushing out. Well, I wouldn't call it gush, but they were running out. So I'm trying to flush the dirt out and just get it, out with fluid rather than air. There's 10 lines. Only 2 of them were pumping fluid up, so I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if those are the 2 supply lines and then it diverts to everything else. So anyhow, we're going to call the lines good. The next step for this is to bolt the, or thread, or whatever the hell you want to call it, put the pilot control valve back on here. So I'm going to put this tower all back together. So I'm going to make each one of these connections, then I'm going to cram the valve back in there, and then I got to attach this safety plate. I got to reattach the throttle plate. The shifter is actually, the handle's just sitting in there, but a couple of pins and stuff down in there. It is a real pain in the ass doing this. I've taken it out twice now, and I've put it in once, so it'll take me a couple hours just to do this. What I have done also is, originally this machine would have had 4 6-volt batteries. It's a 24-volt system, so the guy I bought it off of had 2 12-volts in there. They're good batteries, so I went ahead and put them back in. I cleaned up the terminals. I'm still not real happy about that, but I cleaned it up and sprayed it down with the terminal protector. This one here I'm not super crazy about either, but for the time being, we're going to see if it'll get this thing started, running, enough to where I can pressure wash it and then start working on everything. So I got my batteries back in. They're sitting on a couple of boards there. I've got the batteries strapped down over here, so batteries are good and in. Next thing is going to be putting this valve on, and I will catch you up here as we go. Well, you can see we get the pilot control valve back in, got the shifter mounted on it and everything. So what I did was attach all those lines. Then there are 4 bolts, 2 on each side. I put the bolts in. There's a rod that goes in. There's a pin down here that holds this. This is on a spring lever. So put that pin in, then attach the shifter rod. So this is neutral. This is the reverse side. And as long as this is up, this is the safety. You can't put it in gear. So you drop that down, then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on your high or low range with that selector there. So you got 1 gear in reverse. There's the high gear in reverse. Go back up to neutral. Come over. Forward gears are this way. So that's it. I've checked all the fluids and stuff. Everything's okay. So I'm going to fire it up, see if it moves, and see how this thing functions. And that's going to take 2 hands. So I'll catch you up here in a little bit. If you're wondering, I got the battery. The batteries are still under here. I just threw that piece of rubber on there and a piece of board. That's what I'm going to sit on rather than mounting the seat back up, because I just want to get this thing running, make sure it's moving reliably, and back it up over there and pressure wash it real good. So there ain't no sense of mounting up the seat just to move it 50 feet and then take it all back off. So I'll be sitting on a board there, but I'll update you here in a little bit. Well, I don't know how bad the wind's making this sound right now because the wind's blowing pretty good, but there's just a little update here. I am not happy to announce that this shifter is still screwed up. It will not come out of neutral again. It has got a lot of pressure on it. It's doing the same thing it did this last time I put it back in. So I got probably back and forth 5 times, so it might have gone 200 yards before I limped it back up here, and it will not move now. The engine's running great. Steering levers are working real good, disengaging, brakes working fine. Everything else seems like it's working on this thing, but this shifter, so I guess it's going to come back off of there again. So we're fixing to get some snow and rain, and it's all blowing in. Looking pretty bad right now, so I'm gonna start on this and see how much I can get done before it turns to crap out here. So I'll catch you guys on the next video. Any of you all got any experience with any kind of problems like this, hydraulic problems, you know, either with a shifter like this, or maybe you've had a brake or something else go wrong, something with a weird valve set up like this, leave me a comment down below. I'd sure love to hear, you know, how you remedied it, if it's something else down the line or if it is in fact your valve. So I'll catch you all on the next video.